answers? I think I'm entitled.
You want answers!
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Hey, folks, destroying the liberal lunacy, you bet, folks, and the SHTory, the SHTory, the SHTory, is unbelievable what is happening. Fight back. That is the best we can do. We're doing it. Don't stop. I really hope you enjoyed my cheerleading rant as I drove earlier today. And my folks, I'm dragging ass, but I'm very excited about what is going on. We're destroying their story, folks. We're taking a wrecking ball to them. Thank you to Mr. T for those great new promos and intros, etc., etc. Let's start with this, folks. Trudeau, that's right. Where's Waldo, the little turd that was hiding? He's now appeared in front of Parliament in Canada. The Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, right? He's mad because the truckers have shut down the city of Iowa, and he's mad because he wants to be the one to shut everything down. Ridiculous. Anyways, he had a plan, and it backfired big time. He tried doing a little fuel ban, folks, saying, no bringing fuel to the truckers. The response, dozens and dozens, untold dozens of citizens descended upon the protest area carrying jugs of fuel. F you to the anti-free speech. F you to the anti-protester leftists. And by the way, where is Antifa to disrupt the truckers? I did see an interview where mainstream media was trying to ask a trucker, are you putting your kids in danger by being here? And he was like, are my kids in danger? Do I need to be worried? Do you have something to tell me about my kids being in danger? Are you threatening my kids? That sort of thing, right? Putting it back on the reporter who's like, well, I don't know if there's any danger. I'm asking you. He's like, well, you're a coward. And he said, you work for the devil. It was great. Where's Antifa? Antifa, get over to Ottawa and go harass these truckers. You bunch of pussies. I love it. Absolutely love it. Thankfully, this is a peaceful protest. Thankfully, yes, it is a peaceful protest. Whew. Let's go with some more of this. Let's do some more. Let's have some more fun, right? Got some more for you, dope-ass Trudeau, right? There's a judge has ordered the Ottawa police to return all the fuel they seized from the truckers. This came via citizensfreepress.com. That's right. The cops that showed up took their fuel, stole their private property. Was a crime being committed? Was it? I don't know. I mean, is doing what they're doing a crime, or is it free speech? It's peaceful protesting. They're not using the fuel to burn down the city or courthouses or police stations. Just a question. I mean, I'm sure they're violating a couple of ordinances, right? Like illegal parking. Give them a parking ticket. Give them a parking ticket. I slept like the undead last night. I did not sleep good. I'm whipped, but I'm excited. And I'm going to tell you why, folks. The people are waking up to the fight that is going on. I'm going to read you the headline. Dr. F, the booster rooster, says the United States is now exiting the, quote, full-blown phase of the pandemic, right? Didn't he just say 2-3 weeks ago that we're still in the first stage out of 5? And now he's saying we're exiting it? This guy's a little confused. Folks, he's a little confused. I don't know what's wrong with this guy, but...
I also want to ask you about the president's mandate. There's so much opposition now.
I understand, and we all understand,
how people do not like to be told what to do. They want to make their own choice and their own free will.
Is there any thought of backing off of that?
People do not like to be told what to do, told what to do, told what to do. They want to make their own choice and their own free will, their own choice, their own choice.
Backing off.
Free will, their own free will. I get that and I respect that. Free will, I respect that. But these are unusual times. Their own free will, unusual times. I respect that. So I would prefer, and we all would prefer, that people would be voluntarily getting vaccinated, told what to do. But if they're not going to do that, sometimes you've got to do things that are unpopular, but that clearly supersede individual choices. And that's what we're talking about when we're talking about requirements.
Maybe there would be a better word besides mandate, but I don't know what it is.
This guy did not get the memo, folks. The booster rooster, right? Cocking and crowing and cockadoodle-doo. He didn't get the agenda. No one sent him the memo on the agenda. He also today claimed there, quote, may be a need for yet again another Jim Jones boost. In this case, a fourth, folks. There may be a need. Well, whoa! It's like in one hand he's saying we're done, but there may be a need for another Jim Jones boost. The booster rooster will not quit crowing, folks. But get this: I think he said that part for the Democrat sheep out there, all those guys, so that the sheep will feel justified with their superior juice status. Because, you know, the booster rooster is encouraging more of the same ineffective juicination. It didn't work the first time. It didn't work the second time. It didn't work the third time. Hell, let's try 4. Maybe that'll work. Unbelievable, folks. The story is unbelievable. It is stunning. But wait. There's more, folks. SHTF is about so much more than just Cerveza bug. Just Cerveza bug. Oh, these people are liars.
Fake carrots. Fake fruit. Fake. Fake grapefruits. Fake. Liar! You liar!
I love it, folks. And how about this? Once again, not following the science. I thought we're supposed to follow the science. I thought statistics coming from the people who know. Folks, there's people who know. The experts, we know who they are. They work for the CDC. They are the experts. Obey them. Follow their instructions. But once again, I guess Jen Psaki is immune. Raggedy Ann, and you know, as Jen Psaki circle back, she says toddlers and school kids should wear masks, regardless what any state has decided. Did she not read? Did she not read? Once again, the science. They don't want to hear it, folks. Now get this. This is huge, and this affects the military. The Department of Defense is now caught in a major scandal. Severe data manipulation. Are these numbers real, folks? Jolene is going to make this the thumbnail for the video. There is nearly a 10 times increase, almost 1,000%, in disease and injury reported in the Department of Defense in 2021. It's a partial number. It could be much higher in the end. because it's not like they uncover more data and just raise the numbers, or, you know, more numbers coming in is just going to make it even worse. In 2020, folks, during the initial Cerveza bug injury disease report, remember, 2020 is when it started, when no one knew what to do, when they took the wrong steps, right? There was actually an approximate 10% lower number of Department of Defense military people that were affected by general disease, general illness, 10% lower than 2019. That's right, folks. 2020, the year of Cerveza bug, was less deadly, or should I say, less injurious, when there was no Cerveza bug. But year 2 of Cerveza bug, the year of the Jim Jones juice, nearly 10 times the number of people in the military suffering from disease and injury. So what caused that almost 1,000% increase? Cerveza bug had already been proven to not be a statistical problem. 2020, it was not a problem. It's small number, small number, small number. 2019, small number. 2020, small number. 2021, bam! Like that. Could the massive rise in the number of injuries and disease be a result of adverse effects of military personnel drinking poisonous Kool-Aid supplied by Jim Jones? Folks, the Jim Jones juice is the one factor that I think is the glaring and different factor involved in these Department of Defense papers that apparently were being manipulated and hidden and now have been revealed. What will be done about it? What will be done about it? Let us move on to something else. In the world of SHTF, I can't help it. Let's go back to Canada. Bank of Canada, the BOC governor, that's kind of like the Federal Reserve Chairman Powell, right? The BOC governor, Tiff Macklem. They got some, interesting names. Up there, it's Tiff. Down here, it's Biff. So Tiff Macklem explained this afternoon that the Ambassador Bridge blockade is very distressing and could impact the economy of Canada. This story, folks, is unbelievable. Where was this jackass, Tiff Macklem, 2 effing years ago, when they said 2-week shutdown, flatten the curve? The bridge has been closed, I think, 3 days. This is the bridge that leads from Canada into Detroit, and they do some business there. The bridge has been closed like 3 days. And the bank, the head of the bank, is screaming, damage control, hoping what? The government takes aggressive action against the truckers? Folks, we had a total lockdown for 2 weeks. And since then, we've had massive other stupid lockdowns and non-essential and essentials. But this guy, after just a couple of days, is warning that this is very distressing. Unbelievable, folks. Their story, how they spin it one way, then they spin it another. Okay, let's have some more fun. The teachers union, right? The big kahuna there. Well, I thought I was the big kahuna. The big kahuna of the teachers union, Randy Weingarten, old fossil that she is, says she will only support unmasking kids when there is a zero Cerveza bug transmission. I remember that Cerveza means Corona, like Corona beer is Cerveza, and that the common cold is a coronavirus. Common cold, coronavirus. That's what I thought I heard. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm no expert. But there's no cure for the common cold. So there's always going to be Cerveza bug of one form, fashion, or another. So this idiot will only support it when there's zero Cerveza bug out there. In an SHTF world, folks, chicken shit arguments are used to justify these lawless controls, right? So now a union thug who wears a bra and depends, is an expert on medicine and gets to share her despotism via political control mechanisms, while real expert and real doctors are shunned, silenced, and terminated for having real knowledge and real experience worth sharing. Huh? Unstinking believable. Stunning revelations coming from the political left. Oh, they're trying to open up their states. There's a battle within the Democrats over, well, shit, we got to knock this stuff off. We got to knock this stuff off, right? And this is critical. The Freedom Convoy, the organizers of it, God bless them. God bless Canada. This is great. Maple syrup for everyone. Maple syrup for everyone. Molson beer for everyone. Freedom Convoy organizers have reiterated demands for a permanent end to all tyrannical COVID mandates, not a temporary one. And they will stay until that happens. Okay, let's see it. Folks, support these people. They're going to stay in place until there's a permanent end to all mandates. That's some ballsy shit there. They're putting it on the line, folks, short of exchanging bullets. You know, I mean, like in a commercial capacity, you know, changing like money. Yeah, I don't glorify or glamorize violence, but you know, that's how shit gets done a lot of times. It's funny how when a government has a problem, violence. With its own people, cops. With a foreign country, military violence. But I can't recommend it or insinuate it's a good idea because it's harmful or dangerous. And someone might get confused or triggered. You know, I love it, folks. I love it. I love the fact that the snowflakes melt. This is satire. You betcha.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth.
Bunch of losers. Not you guys. I love you guys. I'm talking about them out there, folks. This is unbelievable stuff, right? This is incredible. President Trump stepping back out in front of the cameras, shining the light of truth. He says this, quote, "They are so desperate to hide the truth, they'll make it criminal to speak it." That's right, folks. The Biden Department of Homeland Security, the DHS, another bureaucracy run and owned and staffed by social communists and social fascists alike. They declared a heightened terrorism threat, citing online misinformation, of course, disinformation, and any other kind of uninformation, right? And they also said that, you know, election fraud, conspiracy theories, all of this is dangerous to the nation. Did you know that free speech is dangerous? Right? Now, legitimate state legislators are looking at and voting on serious election issues in various states. You know, like Georgia and Arizona. You know, those states, they're states. These are legitimate state legislators, folks. This isn't some ragtag bunch of lawyers or law enforcement or dumbass citizens holding meetings at the park pretending like they're in charge. Real, legitimate, elected state politicians, representatives, senators are looking into and passing voting laws. But somehow this evidence is a terror threat to the DHS, to Biden, to the FBI, and to the Department, I'm sorry, I was going to say the Department of Communists, but the District of Columbia, their power structure. Folks, how far are we into SHTF? Are you ready? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan. Are you ready for what's coming? Because there's more, folks. There's always going to be more. Tyrants do not just pack up and walk away. They don't do it. Now, it's I mentioned the union boss. I mentioned the union boss for teachers. It's not just at the very top, folks. This is where you step in and you and us, make a difference. In fact, Uman shared with me yesterday a couple of the emails he was sending his elected representatives and even a judge. He got the email for a judge that made a great decision right there in the great state of Illinois, and congratulated this judge for saying, no more of this mask shit, right? But that's where you are making a difference out there by sending emails, letters, correspondence, making phone calls at the very top and then at the local level. Now following a statewide school mask mandate suspension in Illinois, I love saying Illinois because it's just nothing but noise coming out there. Anyways, the teachers have already begun harassing and threatening their students. The teachers union vows that maskless children, quote, will be dealt with. These are children. So not only does the boss at the top say, well, when I decide there's no more coronas out there, maybe, F you. Right? And then we got the teachers union down low threatening students in Chicago, like, oh, you'll be dealt with, right? Oh, one teacher said, you better dress warm because the windows will be wide open. Folks, are they that brainwashed? Are they that stupid? Are they that afraid of cerveza bug? The answer could be yes. It could be yes. Oh, by the way, in another 6 minutes, we're going to go to your questions. It is going to be the Q&A on the bottom half of the hour, so get your questions into Jolene. We're going to have a good old time with this, folks. I'm souped up on caffeine, and I'm going to run until the gas tank is empty, and then I'll probably, pass out. But this is really critical, folks. Teachers and leftists are afraid. I think they really are deathly afraid of this. They've been so convinced. They worship every word that comes out of those washing-tarred politicians' mouths. They do. They believe everything. Because I still see them, even in the land of freedom in the South. I see people driving down the street, windows rolled up, folks, all alone, wearing a mask in their car. I've seen people riding on motorcycles wearing a mask. I'm like, what? Unbelievable. Punishments, folks, are coming to these Illinois students. They're going to be handed out like a homework assignment for choosing to be mask-free. They're choosing to be mask-free in accordance with a judicial decision, which has the standing of correcting a misjustice, a miscarriage of law by Prickster and others. And so the miscarriage is stopped. The judge has ruled, hey, no more masks needed. If masks work, well, let's see. I know. See, one mask on me, one mask on every student. So it's 2 masks is enough to stop outgoing and incoming germs. Well, why doesn't the teacher just put on 2 masks? Now they got that double layer that's needed between the kid and the teacher, right? One kid, mask, teacher's mask, teacher. There's 2 masks. Wear 2 masks, you jackass. Instead, they threaten. Children will be dealt with. That is how sick and deranged these people are, folks. The story just gets better. This is a big one. Everyone, take a deep breath. Here we go. Senator Mitch McConnell, Republican, Senate Minority Leader, is an owned political whore. He has called the January 6th protesters or the January 6th event a, quote, violent insurrection. And he says that the Republican National Committee should not have censored Rhino political traitor Liz Cheney and Rhino political traitor Kitzinger, two Republicans that joined this, shall I say, wholly ridiculous, unnecessary, unconstitutional, dumbass committee called the January 6th Committee. Here's my recommendation, folks. Call every senator. Call every senator in every state. Mitch McConnell needs to be voted out as the Senate minority leader, as the Senate power, the leader of the Republicans in the Senate. Mitch McConnell needs to be removed for calling what happened a violent insurrection. The violence, if you look, folks, is cops beating the ever-loving shit out of old women and men. 4 people were killed that day, folks. 4 people died at the hands of police. No police died at the hands of protesters. The people that smashed their way into the Capitol building were dressed like Antifa. All black, black masks, black scarves, hoodies to hide their identities. The Patriots, no, they dressed like regular normies. With the exception of, Make America Great Again, paraphernalia, hats, patriotic clothing, and the like. Where did Mitch McConnell get his information? Or is he a wholly owned political whore? Remember, Mitch McConnell owns a great deal of interest in Chinese corporations. And Mitch McConnell is married to a very, very, very wealthy, I believe, born in China citizen, or is she of Chinese descent, right? Country of origin. I don't think China is a race, so I would have to say a country of origin. And I'm sure she's got his balls in her purse. Unbelievable. Folks, support the truckers. Write the Senate and say, get rid of McConnell. He is an embarrassment. He is shameless. He is a liar for calling it a violent insurrection. That is a bald-faced lie. Bald-faced lie, folks. I got 2 more short stories I want to go over. Number 1, there is now going to be a jury trial for Don Lemon. CNN's Don Lemon. That's right, another sexual issue with CNN staff and personnel. Now, if there's a jury trial, that means there won't be a judge looking into this. A jury trial means he's being charged with what, folks? A sexual assault. Don Lemon is being accused of putting his hand in his pants and juggling his onions energetically, and then taking his hands out of his pants after fondling his genitals, and then sticking his fingers into a man's mustache and his nose and pushing his head around. That's how far he pushed, how aggressively he pushed. This should be bye-bye Don forever. Remember during the Clintons and the Democrats, they would say things like, it's not the, no, let me go all the way back. I'm going to go all the way back to Clarence Thomas's, that's right, Clarence Thomas's Supreme Court nomination hearing. And we were told it is not the nature of the evidence, but the seriousness of the charges that matter. Because he was being charged with, Clarence Thomas, saying these words, "Who put pubic hair on my Coke?" Folks, that is some serious stuff, is it not? And even though there was no evidence and no witness to this ridiculous charge by a woman named Anita Hill, that almost got Clarence Thomas not affirmed, but thankfully he was. Clarence Thomas has become a stalwart of conservative, intelligent thought. And he's been on the bench since I have been studying Let's see, law, politics, geopolitics, everything, every freaking thing. But yeah, it's not the nature of the evidence, but the seriousness of the charge we need to look at. And then we got to Clinton after that. And it was, we don't care what the charge is. Woman after woman after woman after woman making complaints about, aggressive sexual behavior, all the way up and through assault into rape. No. It was a vast right-wing conspiracy, says Pretty in Pink Hillary Clinton. I would say this every day, except it'd be a waste of breath. Don't get me started. These people got us all started years ago. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for supporting the channel. Bam! We need to get rid of Don Lemon. I think they're going to clean house at CNN, folks. I guess Brian Stelter Potato Boy is going to be the last one, the last potato standing. CNN, the most untrusted and untrustworthy news source ever, has how many sex scandals? Oh, by the way, unlike Anita Hill and the pubic hair on the Coke joke, there were or is a witness to Don Lemon's behavior. I really wonder, folks. And one more thing, there's a geomagnetic storm that is crashing 40 out of the 48 Starlink internet satellites put up by Tesla and Elon Musk. I guess that he didn't build them to withstand even a small geomagnetic, electromagnetic, solar radiation storm. 40 out of 48 down, folks. That's 5/6. 5 out of 6 of his satellites down. Crazy stuff. Let's do this. Let's get to you guys. I want to hear what you want to talk about.
Are you ready?
I tell you, folks, it's hit the fan. I sure hope you got food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. And we're going to step right into it. Pow! Latin American preparedness. Let me adjust my chair. Latin American preparedness says this is a delicate, it's a censored topic. I need to be very careful here. It was claimed that cerveza bug is a disease by those who have not gotten the Jim Jones juice. Most hospitalizations and deaths happen within 14 days of getting the Jim Jones juice. People getting Jim Jones juice within 14 days, including the Jim Jones Juice Boost. If I understand what you're saying, and I don't have the news story, what you're saying is that for these people who are getting sick and having to go to the hospital, it's happening within 14 days of getting their Jim Jones juice. So these new hospitalizations. Likewise, people who have adverse reactions to drinking too much Kool-Aid, right? The Jim Jones Kool-Aid. That happens right away. Same day, the next day. I saw an incredibly horrifying story of like a 3-year-old toddler got myocarditis, enlarged heart, right? Picture of a healthy kid, and 3 days later, he's hooked up to like a ventilator and he's got all kinds of tubes and stuff. Heartbreaking. Just freaking heartbreaking to see, folks. And yeah, it all happens pretty damn quick. What are we to do about it? Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do first. I'm going to protect myself, my family, you guys, people we know, by telling them, hey, why don't you get some facts? unbelievably scary what is going on out there, folks. I talked to you about the numbers provided to Senator of the United States of America, Johnson. Senator Johnson, Republican senator, got those Department of Defense numbers. Wow. Yeah, within 14 days, look out. Cruise ship goes out, everyone's fine. Cruise ship comes back within 7 days, full of sick people. How did that happen? They all just got their juice booster. Right? All right. We got Mark the Prepared Klingon. The IRS is now taxing cryptocurrency. You bet, and they should. Cryptocurrency is not gold or silver. It is not specie. It is not money. It's not even currency. I know this upsets a lot of people because when they initially started talking about cryptocurrency, it was supposed to be 100% anonymous. It is not. It was supposed to be used as a currency. It really isn't. You have to churn it back into dollars before you can spend it, right? It was supposed to be tax-free. Well, if it's not anonymous and has to be exchanged for something else, I think you're only going to be taxed on the profit. That is, say you bought a Bitcoin for $30,000 and you sold it for $40,000. The delta is $10,000. You've made $10,000 profit and you pay a 28% capital gains tax on that. Now, I love how the government works. When you do something wrong and make a mistake investing, they don't help you out, you know. So let's say you bought a Bitcoin for $30,000 and it drops to 20. The delta is a $10,000 loss. You pay no tax on that. But the government doesn't hand you any money and say, well, nice try. Right? No. The government never helps. The government only takes. Anyways, thank you. Oh, no, Mark the Prepared Klingon is back. He goes, what are your thoughts on Nixon? Was he a good president? All righty. Right off the bat, I'm just going to give you no. No, Tricky Dick was not a good president. Tricky Dick did something shitty. He was engaged in political espionage. That's the Watergate affair, the first Gate type of political intrigue that occurred and got the name Gate stuck to everything else. But yeah, no, he wasn't a good president for that. He resigned because of that. Tricky Dick obeyed his political masters. Okay. Governor Connolly of Texas was a Democrat, was riding in the car with John F. Kennedy when Kennedy's head was evacuated. Connolly's a Democrat, and Nixon appointed him, right? I believe, Secretary of the Treasury? Secretary of the Economy? It was a high-level cabinet position. Why would he do that for a Democrat unless that Democrat was guaranteed, right? Basically some payout, some payola for helping ensure that the whole JFK business, how messy it was, just kind of got washed over, right? For doing his part, for taking a bullet, right? Because Connolly was hit a couple of times, folks. He was hit a couple of times. Collapsed a lung, wrist, and leg. Yeah, he got fucking shot up pretty good. Oh, but the Warren Commission would have you believe that all those 3 wounds, plus the wounds that Kennedy got, apart from the headshot, all came from one bullet. Now, was Nixon a good president? Nixon took us off the gold standard. He closed the gold window altogether because the United States Treasury and the Federal Reserve were printing way more cash than we had gold in reserve. In other words, they were counterfeiting. And so rather than face the music and say, we need to fix the problems, instead we ended up with like 15% inflation. They took us off the gold standard, spun our country into economic peril and doom in the early 1970s. which I believe truly affected my childhood. I probably would have had a much happier early childhood had it not been for Nixon. Either way, we were screwed, folks. Either way, the damage was done. All of that, you see, countries like France, England, and other nations were bringing U.S. dollars back to the U.S. and exchanging them for solid gold bars. So all of this printed paper went over to Europe, and the Europeans came back with boats and said, put the gold on the boat, we're taking it home. So our gold was being lost. And this was prior to Nixon, folks, until one day he got that phone call. Now, what else did Nixon do? Are you ready for this? Nixon opened up China. Well, that's a good thing, John. Free trade and all. No, it wasn't about free trade. It was the start of the great exportation of United States corporations and jobs into the People's Republic of China, a communist empire built in Asia that needed some help, some assistance to continue its communist ways. So we sent and started sending influence into China, basically to teach them about how fascism works, how you have to appeal to people's greed and they'll work harder to screw each other over to get money. And then you, the communist government, can control China still and benefit, right, through exploiting your own people and cheap labor to sell goods around the rest of the world and enrich yourselves. Nixon started that. Do I agree with that? Heck, no, I don't agree with that. That's trading with the enemy. You don't help your enemy, especially when they're more than just an enemy. They are a complete opposite, polar opposite political system. So Nixon helped send the United States on its way, and it wasn't until Ross Perot in 1988 started campaigning, or was it 1992? 88. No, 92. Started campaigning and explaining the great sucking sound, right, of corporations leaving the United States of America if Bill Clinton was elected. And Bill Clinton turned up the exportation. He allowed the exportation of companies, giving them tax breaks. Not to mention Clinton also sold through Loral Space, our space technology, allowing the Chinese to finally launch a missile, rocket, or ICBM into the stratosphere, upper atmosphere, lower Earth orbit, something they couldn't do. They couldn't figure out the math somehow. Well, thank you, Clinton, for giving them that power. Additionally, folks, when we look back at Nixon, do you know who Nixon was? Nixon was a pawn of Prescott Bush, grandfather of George W. Bush, father to George H.W. Bush, former head of, you guessed it, the CIA. Nixon, way back, folks, way back, and I think it was 1960, not 1968, 1960, Nixon ran as Prescott Bush's political candidate. First, Prescott Bush got him elected as a congressman. That's right. They needed him in Congress, give him some political experience, tricky dick, and then moved him up several years later to as a presidential candidate running against, you got it, John F. Kennedy. He lost to Kennedy and reappeared, a few years later, Reappeared a few years later, 1968, as President of the United States. Basically in the pocket of Prescott Bush, the Bush Empire, the Bush Cartel. Woohoo! There's a lot on that. All right, let's move forward. Uman said, love the hypocrisy of Waldo's speech saying the protesters were destroying people's businesses, restricting movement, and severely hurting the national economy. The dude, yeah, you're right, Uman, no self-awareness. He has no idea that what the truckers are doing is nada, nil, niente, zip, zilch, zero compared to the massive damage that Trudeau did to his own country. Yeah, he wants the truckers out of the way so Trudeau can take all the credit for destroying the economy, people's businesses, lives, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I love it. Bob Zemko checks in and says, John, the 10-year T-bill is now 1.94%. I believe once it hits 2.25%, this credit dumpster fire goes 5 alarm. Buy physical silver and gold while it's still available. I am not a financial advisor. I am not an expert economist. The recommendation by many to buy physical silver and physical gold is a widely touted strategy for protecting your cash holdings from the rigorous destruction of the value of your currency. If we're already at 10 or 15% across the spectrum, right, inflation, if you're poor, folks, the people most affected by inflation are the very poorest among us because they have the least disposable cash. And what they use that cash to buy, a bigger percentage of their overall budget goes to food. And food prices, huge. They have the biggest percentage of their annual income gobbled up in fuel. And fuel has gone haywire under I did this Joe Biden. Yeah, inflation is crazy, but the poor don't have excess cash to buy silver and gold. Now, the last part of your statement, while it's available, folks, when I was talking about silver years and years ago, saying, hey, take a look at it, you could get whatever you wanted. The premium on a United States Silver Eagle back then was like $2.50, $2.20. Right, a Canadian maple leaf was $1.60, $1.50, $1.70. The premium on a silver buffalo, which is just a minted round, not by a sovereign mint, was like $1 or 90 cents. Then you can get junk silver for like 50 or 60 cents per ounce over spot price. Junk silver being old constitutional coinage, silver dimes, silver quarters, silver half dollars. Now, if silver is $25 an ounce, you're going to be paying $35 to $40 an ounce per coin. It's called a premium. And that is if it's even available. You used to be able to get whatever you wanted. You can get a silver eagle, you can get a silver maple leaf. You could get a silver Britannia from England, or a silver kangaroo from Australia, or a silver Philharmonic from Austria. Or you could get silver coins or rounds, whatever you want to call them, blanks. You can get square ones, triangle ones, round ones, rough cubes, whatever you wanted from any mint anywhere. Now, good luck finding, right, any of these sovereign coins. You're going to be waiting in line to get privately minted stuff. It's difficult, and it's only going to get worse as the economy is being tamped down. Supply lines, folks, affect not only you and me, but also the mines that produce gold and silver, and also the mines that produce zinc, steel, copper, lead, cobalt, vanadium, any metals needed for industrial purposes. Aluminum, hello, right? Price is going up. Availability is going down. Let's see if a mine has, a dozen tractors and 3 of them break down and they can't get parts. Guess what? They're not producing as much. They can't. Expect this problem to get worse. Expect it. Even though the Biden administration has basically said this, with regard to the transportation issues, our supply line logistics, we've now hit peak fuck up. Okay, great. We've hit peak fuck up. Meaning the Biden administration thinks it can't get worse? It's just going to remain peaked? Or are they saying they're going to fix it now? Understand this. They will try and fix this. The unions, miraculously, I bet, in LA, all of a sudden are going to figure out how to unload the ships. They're going to figure out how to get the shipping containers off of the ships with their cranes. They're going to figure out how to use forklifts and cranes to put those shipping containers on trucks. The truck drivers are going to miraculously figure out where those deliveries go. The trains that haul these shipping containers by rail car are suddenly going to remember how to do their job. Just in time, folks, to alleviate somewhat of the problem in time for the 2022 election. You can't tell me this isn't political. This has been a giant shit political stunt from the beginning. From the first time that little bastard, the Booster Rooster, set foot in front of a microphone and started trying to scare people again, like he did back with HIV in the 80s. Catherine has this to say. Dark thought question for you, as if we haven't had enough dark thoughts. Will the powers that be tuck themselves away in their comfy bunkers and wait it out until enough people have perished and world population has significantly decreased? Then they will step out, offering shelter, food, medical supplies for the ones left. Would really like to hear this is not possible. Okay. If we go into a massive depopulation spectacle having to do with the four horsemen being loosed upon the people, either realistically or figuratively, doesn't matter. Let's see, death, pestilence, war, famine, all the things that come with bad political decisions and intentional destruction. Yeah, they've unleashed famine on us, folks. Famine is going to be coming. Maybe not to the United States as much as other countries, other third world countries. Oh yeah, third world countries. Because of problems with Russia, problems with fertilizer, lower yields, governments plowing under crops, destroying livestock, because they couldn't process it. So let's destroy it instead. That makes a lot of frickin' sense. You can grind up, you can get, instead of a nice tender fryer chicken, you can take a little bit older rooster, put it in the old grinder and make chicken nuggets out of it. Still be tender. Trust me on that one. But no, they need to destroy. There's a consequence for this. So the Jim Jones juice, it kills off, I don't know, 5% of the population, 10%. 50% over the next 5 years, 10 years, unless they become contagious zombies that can somehow pass on the death disease. The uber wealthy, I don't think they have much to worry about. Right? If it gets really bad, say in their city, they could go to their bunkers. Yeah. If there is a complete revolt and people start going after the super wealthy and blaming them, the powers that be, if you will, yeah, they'll fly away to their hideaways, their bunkers, and wait it out. And when they come out, will they offer all sorts of assistance, as you suggest? It's possible, trying to buy good favor with the remaining people. It's possible, but if for example, I'm just Joe American, and I've lost a quarter, half, 3/4 of my family because they took the juice, or they were killed by zombies, or they got killed because of the resulting, shall we say, partisan conflict. I would remember who they are. Oh, hey, it's Bill Gates. Oh, it's Mark Zuckerberg. Hey, it's Jeff Bezos. Hey, that guy's in charge of that corporation, huh? That's who that was? Yeah, I'm going to go have words with him. I don't think they're going to be liked very much, no matter how much they put out there. They will need to be remembered for their part. Now, as said before, people like Don Lemon and Zuck, they're at CNN, they're being hung out to dry. Governor Cuomo, still not an uber elite person, even though he's not going to face criminal charges for his crimes. He, guess what? I don't think that all these people get to go and get on the other side of the fence in the country club. They're the gatekeepers, but they are not the powers that be. They're the puppets, not the puppet masters. So it's a big club. It's an important club, but not all of these leftists are in it, including all of the elitist egghead academics, including, I'm going to guess, most of the political brass in the Pentagon. Now, everyone who's in on the know and understands what the Jim Jones juice is, and they know the agenda, and they should probably have an expectation of what is going to happen. Oh, it's dark. It's gruesome, folks. And it could take 2 years, 5 years, 10 years for this all to play out, to see what are the real numbers. Do we really end up going into more wars? Do we really have massive amounts of starvation, food shortages, food lines, fights? Do we have difficult, terrible, horrifying, purge-like conflict between partisans? It's possible, but we won't know until it happens. So in the meantime, knowing we're going to have shortages, we're going to have supply problems, and they're going to be continuous. They're going to be problematic at the least. And that we're going to have inflation as our currency is once again devalued and destroyed the same way it was under the Nixon administration because of political pandering by those in charge, pandering and being bought off and bribed. It's best to be a prepper. Take action. Prep to action, but definitely prepare. You can't have 10 years of food. I guess you could, but unlikely. Hard to store that much, right? But you should have enough, and you should be prepared for hard times coming. That's why I recommend being prepared. I recommend training, practicing, understanding. Get familiar with a more difficult life, at least up here, so that when it occurs, you're not stunned into disbelief. Woo! Okay, we got Latin American preparedness. He says, Sweden is the first country to announce the end of the pandemic. Protests are spreading to other countries wanting the mandates to end. How long will it be when we see the entire pandemic end? It could be, let's see, it's February. Within the next 6 months. Within the next 6 months. In the United States of America, it will need to end. They'll need to announce victory. And yes, thank you, Dr. Booster Rooster, because you saved us with your magic elixir, the Jim Jones juice. Unbelievable. But, and understand this very well, folks, the day after the election, the day after the November election, 2022, guess what? November 2nd, because the 1st is the first Tuesday. November 2nd, they could say, oh my God, we have a new variant. People are keeling over left and right. This is more virulent than we ever thought it could be. And they'll tell us, oh yeah, we detected this back in August. We hoped it wasn't true. It started spreading in September. We kept it quiet. In October, we didn't want to say anything and affect the elections. But here we are in November 2nd, the day after the elections. And oh my God, we have another pandemic. They can bring it back just like that. Are you prepared? Now, if they lose power, folks, in the election, that's another whole story, right? We've got so many wacky theories and conspiracy theories and fact theories and all kinds of stuff. It is going to be one hell of a year, 2022. Chance favors the prepared mind. How about yours? Do you know what's coming? I really don't, folks. I can take some guesses. We can definitely follow current events, current trends, political silliness, political stupidity. We can follow it. We can predict what's coming. And we've done a great job of that, you and I. Thank you to everybody for sharing information with me, helping me take everything, kind of put it into something I can see in front of me and go, oh my God, look at that. I can see it. They're going to lighten up on the censorship. You bet. Go ahead and talk about what you want. Oh, yeah, we've already whipped this. The government did it. Good job. Good job, Democrats. Good job, government. Thank you. Oh, you saved us. Right, but don't expect it to last, folks. The other thing we could face is just a total series of, I don't know, domestic terror events designed to blame certain partisan groups so that the left can, I don't know, suspend the election, declare the right wing to be the enemy of the country, claim that democracy is being threatened. We actually have a constitutional republic. All these things, folks, they're possibilities. The key is that you are prepared. You have the stuff, you have the mental perspective, and you're prepping to action, and you're helping others by sharing the internet address. Share these videos with others, please. Support people who are fighting back. Yep. Oh yeah, they're gonna win up in Canada, folks, but will they get permanent removal of all the bullshit? We need to demand that here, that it's permanent, not just they let off and are like, I can breathe again. Thank you. No. We need to demand legislation. Again, they're losing. They're losing support. They're losing momentum. They're going to lose the elections. Hopefully we can maintain that one too. And we need to push and demand our rights be respected forever here on out. Of course, the Democrats will have no intention of actually doing that. But we need to fight for it, folks. This is our lives, our country. What are we handing to our children? Well, right now, it looks like a dystopian nightmare. It's something that George Orwell would go, ooh, that's nasty. Right? Look out. Hey, chance favors the prepared mind. Aren't you glad you're a prepper? Semper Fi, Godspeed. Thank you, Jolene. Thank you, Uman. Thank you to all of you. Thank you to all of you who have supported us through Patreon, through Super Chats, through PayPal, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Thank you again, Rudy, for being a guest the other day. And I'll be a guest on someone else's channel here, and then I'll have them on our channel. We'll start bringing in some specialists, making things interesting. You guys be cool. I'll see you very soon.